Free agency is coming. Let's see who is expected to have the most buying power, who will have the least, and which key players each team has decisions to make on. Guess that makes me free agency preview guy. I like it. Dolphins have a new coach. They're coming off a 9-8 record, and they are expected to have over $63 million in chips to throw on the table in free agency, more than any other club. Their key unrestricted free agents, Mike Gesicki, one of the best tight ends in the game, to a safety valve.
Another great catch. This time it's Gesicki.
Linebacker Landon Roberts started 15 games for them. His contract is up. So is Emmanuel Ogbah, the team's sack leader last year.
Cannot get away. Ogbah is there.
Let's stay in Florida. The Jags only cobbled together 3 wins, but they have a new head coach, the #1 pick in the draft, and over $59 million to make roster improvements with, second most. Their offensive line could get revamped. Multiple of their 2021 starters are hitting the market. Receiving corps could also look different. Laquan Treadwell and DJ Chark are also unrestricted. Linebacker Damian Wilson is the most significant name on their defense who could depart.
And Damian Wilson gets him and the ball comes out. And Jacksonville will take over.
Team with the third most cash to throw around. They were just in the Super Bowl. How's $57 million plus sound, Houday? I wonder what they'll spend most of that cash on. Big Uglies. Sorry, something was in my throat. They have a couple O-linemen set to hit the market. It's also tight end CJ Uzoma's time to sign a new deal.
Decision time on defensive tackles BJ Hill and Larry Ogunjobi, who was playing well before getting hurt.
Corner Eli Apple, rough way to head into free agency, man. And safety Jesse Bates, who most of the jungle would love to see return.
Intercepted in the end zone. It is picked off by Jesse Bates.
Chargers just missed the playoffs, but will have about $56.2 million to try and put themselves over the top in 2022, fourth most. 4 starters on defense are UFAs, but the bigger questions will be with their offense. They've got to deal with guard Michael Schofield, tight end Jared Cook, and wide receiver Mike Williams.
Looking for Mike Williams. Tracking caught. Big Mike Williams.
Jets, only 4 wins last year, but at least they have cash to spend. $48.1 million, fifth most.
No major names on their own board. Marcus May's deal is up on defense.
Right tackle Morgan Moses, wide receivers Braxton Berrios, Keelan Cole, Jamison Crowder. He was solid for him.
Looks right, throws right, wide open. Jamison Crowder.
In 6th, Broncos hit 7 wins and have $38.8 million to improve on that. Their list on offense, Teddy Bridgewater, lineman Bobby Massey, and running back Melvin Gordon. What do they do with their secondary? Cornerbacks Bryce Callahan and Kyle Fuller are up, as well as safety Kareem Jackson.
He is swarmed. Jackson from the safety spot came up to make the play.
7th most coins. Colts went 9-8 in 2021. They'll look to improve on that with the $37.3 million they could have. 3 key starters on defense could jump ship. Xavier Rhodes and safety Alejandro Sendejo, the most prominent. Contracts of 2 starters on their offensive line are up, as is tight end Mo Alley Cox and wide receivers Zach Pascal and T.Y. Hilton.
T.Y. Hilton. Touchdown.
Seahawks. Russ was hurt. Without him for a chunk, just 7 wins, but $36.4 million to try and fix things, 8th most. O-line has a couple guys who are up, led by Dwayne Brown, and Rashad Penny, who went nuts the last month of the year.
Penny has the hole, and he breaks free. Rashad Penny with a house call.
And what will their secondary look like? Ryan Neal, Sidney Jones, Quandre Diggs, and corner DJ Reed's contracts all expired.
DJ Reed just plucks it out of the air.
The Commanders, that was my first time saying it in a video. 7 wins in their final year as the team, 9th most cash to spend in year 1 as the Commanders, $31.8 million. And just one real in-house guy to worry about, guard Brandon Scherff. Steelers kick off the post-Big Ben era with some money to spend, about $31.2 million, puts them 10th. A couple linemen could depart. Don't think anyone in Pittsburgh will try and stop them, but do they try and stop wide receivers James Washington or Juju? On defense, you definitely expect them to try and stop Terrell Edmunds from going anywhere.
Terrell Edmunds just leveled Chester Rogers.
Tell me Terrell Edmunds doesn't want to play today.
Bears, 6 wins in the final year of Pace Nagy. New regime should have about $28.6 million to work with, 11th most. Number of O-linemen could be set free. Don't think Bear Down Country cares aside from maybe James Daniels. Receiving corps will look a lot different. Allen Robinson, Marquise Goodwin, Jimmy Graham, and Jakeem Grant are all question marks. On defense, decisions have to be made on Bilal Nichols, Alec Ogletree, Tashawn Gibson, Artie Burns, and the biggest fish, Akeem Hicks.
Gonna be swallowed up. Akeem Hicks came flying in.
Browns, disappointing 8 wins last season, but at least the Dog Pound has $25 million to play with, and not too many big names hitting free agency. Rashad Higgins and tight end David Njoku on the offensive side, defensive tackle Malik Jackson, linebacker Anthony Walker, safety Ronnie Harrison, and Jadeveon Clowney on the defensive side.
Hit, ball comes loose, scooped up by Clowney.
Lions, you have the number 2 pick in the draft and around $22.7 million to try and get better. Not many guys on your own block. The defensive contracts that are up: defensive tackle Nick Williams, linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maybin, free safety Tracy Walker. On offense, just Khalif Raymond, their wide receiver return man.
And he's got room. Khalif Raymond up the sideline.
Eagles made the postseason and could have over $21.5 million to work with. No one on offense to worry about much. About a half dozen guys on D. The most prominent, Anthony Harris, who looked good with a wing on his helmet.
Intercepted by Anthony Harris.
Raiders, double-digit wins and a nice chunk of change to work with at $20.5 million. Zay Jones played well for them. He's the only major offensive piece up in the air. Few more on defense: D lineman Jonathan Hankins, Quentin Jefferson, and their top 2021 corner, Casey Hayward.
And it's going to be picked off. Casey Hayward.
Texans, only 4 wins. Potential free agent bucks, $17 million of them. Offense could say bye to Tyrod Taylor and David Johnson. 6 defensive players to watch: Desmond King and linebacker Kamu Grugier-Hill, 100-plus tackle guy, the 2 biggest of that group.
Right side, he's getting nowhere. In fact, nailed by Grugier-Hill.
Panthers, only 5 wins, but staring at plus $16.8 million to spend. Want Cam back? Keep pounding? Newton's play didn't guarantee a return to Carolina by any means. On defense, defensive tackle Daquan Jones, middle linebacker Jermaine Carter,
Cornerbacks Justin Burris and Stephon Gilmore, and outside linebacker Hassan Reddick are on the clock.
Reddick picking up 11 sacks in his first year as a Panther.
He's been an absolute tear all season long.
Ravens, 8 wins last year despite a rash of injuries, should have about $8.7 million to work with. Offensive side of things, pretty stable. Most of the guys they could lose are depth guys, outside of their starting center, Bradley Bozeman. Their DB core has 2 guys potentially hitting the market, Jimmy Smith and Anthony Averett. Up front, Justin Houston, Brandon Williams, and Calais Campbell are guys to track.
Calais Campbell is a human wall.
Patriots made their way back to 10 wins and may have about $8.3 million to work with. Lineman Trent Brown is the biggest question mark on O. On defense, they have Dante Hightower, Devin McCourty potentially hitting the streets, and one of the best corners in the league, J.C. Jackson, has to get paid.
J.C. Jackson is Mr. Pick.
Chiefs picked up 12 W's and will have about $4.3 million to work with. Lots of decisions on their plate, though. O-line has a number of guys up, led by Orlando Brown. Receiving corps has DeMarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle.
To the end zone, caught! Byron Pringle.
And their D may look a lot different. Jaron Reed, Melvin Ingram from their front.
And from their DB corps, Charvarius Ward, Mike Hughes, Daniel Sorensen, and the Honey Badger.
Spagnuolo brings everyone and they get home. Tyrann Mathieu.
Buccaneers got to 13 wins and said goodbye to TB12, and they could be saying goodbye to a lot more, too. They'll have about $3 million to work with. Last team in the black, by the way. But holy bajoli, check out their unrestricted free agents. Center Ryan Jensen, tight ends O.J. Howard, Rob Gronkowski, running backs Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, and wide receiver Chris Godwin.
Godwin pinballs in. Touchdown Bucs.
Now for part 2, the defense. DBs Carlton Davis and Jordan Whitehead. And up front, Ndamukong Suh, William Golston, and JPP. That's a lot of ands.
Oh, unable to slip out of it.
JPP.
Now we are to the teams who are expected to be over the cap. Cardinals 11 wins in 2021, looking at about $800K over the line. Enough to mark at zero, dude. Lots of playmakers deals are up. AJ Green, Chase Edmonds, Zach Ertz, Christian Kirk.
In the end zone, Kirk, touchdown Cards.
On defense, they have decisions to make with nose tackle Corey Peters, cornerback Robert Alford, and Chandler Jones.
Chandler stayed home and is letting everybody know that he should have got the contract he deserved.
Look at Peters as he dives to the goal line.
49ers fought through injuries to make the postseason. The offseason will be challenging since they're sitting at negative $4.4 million. They would like to keep left guard Laken Tomlinson. Rest of their key offensive players, for the most part, are locked up. Their defense could look a lot different, though, especially their DB core. Safety Jaquiski Tartt, cornerbacks Josh Norman, Jason Verrett, and Kwan Williams are all in need of new deals.
Go! Dropped! Intercepted! Kwan Williams got it on the ricochet!
Bills, 11 wins, projected to be $4.7 million over the cap. Have to decide on Emmanuel Sanders and special team star Isaiah McKenzie. On defense, they face decisions on defensive tackle Harrison Phillips and pass rusher Jerry Hughes. Their biggest unrestricted free agent, cornerback Levi Wallace, who's been great for them the last few years.
And that one intercepted. That's Wallace.
Atlanta, 7 wins in 2021, expected to be over the cap by about $7 million. Have to decide on how to handle two of their biggest offensive producers.
And Cordero Patterson into the end zone. Throws, caught, touchdown, Russell Gage.
On defense, their secondary could look different depending on how they handled Deron Harmon and Fabian Moreau, but the biggest name they have on the unrestricted list, linebacker Foye Oluokun.
Oluokun got through.
Titans finished first in the AFC, but they have a negative $7.2 million cap number potentially. Their line could lose center Ben Jones and right tackle David Quisenberry, and they could also lose their top 2 tight ends. Also have to deal with linebacker Rashaan Evans and the guy they really hope to lock down, sackmaster Harold Landry.
Harold Landry, who had a breakout season, basically untouched.
Giants finished with just 4 wins, and they could be over the cap by $12 million. Their defense could look a lot different depending on what they do with nose tackle Austin Johnson, linebacker Lorenzo Carter, Reggie Ragland, and safety Jabril Peppers. On offense, they have 3 starting linemen hitting the window, as well as tight end Evan Ingram.
To the end zone for a Giants touchdown, Evan Ingram.
Vikings 8-9 in 2021 and over the cap by about $15.3 million. Not much to ponder on offense, and really just Everson Griffin on defense.
I love watching Everson Griffin play. He's just all heart all the time.
Super Bowl champs, LA Rams. Anyone from the house care your squad is about $17 million over the cap? Probably not. They have a couple linemen whose deals are up, so is Sony Michel's, and so are both their star rentals.
Going to the end zone, reaching up and making the grab. Odell Beckham Jr. Pressure again. Miller. Von Miller racing through.
Cowboys got to 12 wins last year. Now comes the hard part. They're likely to be over the cap by $21.4 million. Will make it a challenge just to keep their own. Lineman Connor Williams, wide receiver Michael Gallup, and tight end Dalton Schultz on offense.
Middle of the end zone, caught. Touchdown, Dalton Schultz.
And the defense could take a hit. 6 possible starters are hitting their window, including defensive end Randy Gregory and linebacker Leighton Vander Esch.
And the Cowboys pick up the sack. Vander Esch.
Packers had another 13-win season, but their cap number could be about negative $50.7 million. Linebacker Devondre Campbell made first-team All-Pro. Can they bring him back?
Down he goes. Plays made by Campbell.
Pass catchers, tight end Robert Tonyan, wide receiver MVS, and that number 17 guy.
Looking for Devontae Adams. He's got it. And a spectacular catch.
And no team is in a bigger hole than the Saints, who are over by about $75.9 million. Nice way to start the Dennis Allen era. Traquan Smith, Teron Armstead, Jameis Winston on offense, Kwan Alexander, and Marcus Williams on defense. Those are the names they'll be deciding on this offseason. Tell the world who you think your squad should keep, who they should let walk, who they need to go after. Get it all in the comments section. I need reading material this offseason.